in life, right? Oh, you're an asshole.
I feel you.
You're an asshole. You ain't gonna let a motherfucker settle at all.
No, because it's important. But
It
yeah,
is. It is. But you know, when we sit here and we think about this right versus wrong, and me and my mom were having some deep discussions, and I, everything that is good for you isn't good, and everything bad for you isn't bad for
no. But it's about moderation and
you.
like self restraint, discipline, control. I think that's what determines in your sense of what you're saying. If like I interpret it that way, is like I think that's what would mean what's good and what's bad is like like for example, you can have sweet stuff, but how much of it do you have that makes like your teeth rot, or what kind of sweets? You know what I mean? I think that's how I've always.
But see, but that's why I say that everything that's good for you isn't good for you, and
Right,
everything that's bad
right,
for you isn't bad for you, because for the simple fact of we eat so much food that why certain food products give us cancer, because of
right.
additives, preservatives
I was
that
just
they
talking about this
add
with my
to
homeboy this
food.
morning. Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
all the
And
cancerous, it's all cancerous materials and stuff that's banned everywhere else in the world.
everywhere else in the world, but yet we eat it, we consume it.
And I was watching this video this morning of average people in Azerbaijan, um, and they were talking about how they like all their extra vegetables that they grow, they preserve it through the winter so that they can have food for the winter. And I started thinking, I'm like, all kinds of like global south and what we would deem like poor countries or whatever, they're
Right.
still healthier compared to us because they don't consume all the cancers and shit that we do. And even with the other quote unquote developed countries that are supposed to be like us, they're healthy as fuck. And we got all these issues because it's because of what we don't eat and what we do eat.
Very true. Very, very true.
I don't know how like. I mean, there is. I would say there's a lot of more pushing toward a lot more people being health conscious and trying new things out and stuff like that. So it's good, but I would say that like overall, there's not like it's a stigma still about it because of the way that the media like favors certain things. Everything from Apple Jacks to huge steaks. I'm not saying those things are bad. I think that again, like I think that just me talking about moderation again, like control and shit. Um, but
And it's not even so much, it to me, it's not even so much about moderation, man, because I move back for right now.
where you at? There you go.
No, and but sit there, and it's not even about moderation, because for the simple fact we put that stuff in our bodies, and then we're supposed to go to hospitals, and you look at,
It's all a
you know
conspiracy.
right, about even the
One
stuff
big
that
loop.
they do to black people,
Hmm.
and it's like right, yeah. I don't understand it, that's why I say, right versus wrong, because of the simple fact of we if people it shouldn't be such a debate about right versus wrong,
Right.
because we all that's why I say about even hate, racism, that's taught, because our when we go to school, that we shouldn't be taught to hate others, right? Because it's not. I didn't learn that at school to hate anybody. Did you?
No, I mean,
Right. So that shit is learned at home, where
right.
parents with their own opinions and personal perspectives, how they feel about people. See, because kids hear that shit. You know, I sit there and I'm an observer. I look at society now, and the things that you see on YouTube are, TikTok, and our kids watch this, or even Snapchat, and our brains are like sponges, right? So when a
Right.
sponge gets wet, it soaks up information. That's what a brain does. So when we see things, when we hear things, it's part of our five senses of making us understand what's going
You know,
on.
I'm always watching a bunch of stuff. I was watching stuff about the Matrix and like our reality, so-called reality, and all that shit, right?
Right.
And this guy was talking about every 7 years we go through higher stages of consciousness in our so-called lives. In the first 7 years of our lives, we're in a stage of imagination. We have imaginary friends and we make mud pies, and to us at that age it's real. But society and the people in higher supposed consciousness than you, which I think it's more of a lower consciousness, but whatever, just because of the way our society is, like, you drew it outside the colors, the lines, you know what I mean, you drew outside the lines when you colored when you were younger, and you imagined things and you made them happen. But the older you got, society told you to be this way and be that way, and you have to follow these rules. And I think that it kills our imagination to be able to, especially, create the kind of world that we know we should have. Like, they don't, they just, and there's like, last century, a lot of those, like Ford, the guy who made the car popular, he wasn't the first person to make a car, but made it popular and commercialized it, and so many others like him. They made a plan to look it up. The public education system was meant to make a bunch of workers in our society, not thinkers. And he straight up said it: I want a nation of workers, not thinkers.
Oh yeah,
And look where we are today.
definitely.
We the dumbest,
But
you know.
that's what I'm saying. Of
You there? Yep. I guess he'll be.
yeah, you there?
There you go.
I don't know how.
Yeah, like you cut out.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's my internet or. Yeah, I know. That's what I'm
Right.
saying. I couldn't hear you either.
Oh, okay. Maybe it's me. I don't know. Um, you were saying, because I was talking about, like, I think that like what they intended really came true more than they probably would have ever imagined, because we have a whole nation of non-thinkers, or people that can't
Man, we
imagine
got a
a
nation of
plan.
followers.
Yeah,
We have a nation of blind people that just don't want to do their own research, don't want
yep,
to educate themselves,
yep.
and really just want to. That
Ooh,
mental health is real.
I posted a video on Instagram. I think it's gone from my story, but it was of Jane Elliott. You know who she is.
Hey,
Um, Talking about what the word educator means. And it basically means to take someone out of ignorance and like show them the light, basically. And she's like, I'm not a teacher, I'm not a leader, I'm not any of those things. I'm an educator. And she said it straight. And I was like, she broke it down too. I was like, okay, that's why I mean, I guess I've always meant to say educate for a certain purpose too, but not those reasons. But it resonates with me. Yep. I guess he's muted. Um, but okay, so what am I talking about now? I know it's been a minute since we went live. Uh, we've really been trying to work on some things behind the scenes. We do have our second annual Juneteenth event coming up. I've been busy with a lot of things as far as music and poetry, trying to get merchandise together for us and um, some books out. But we've also been trying to like focus on what is more important out of like there's a lot of news out there, right? There's
There's
a
a ton of
lot of
news
stuff
out
going
there.
on in the world, and it can be hard to keep up when you have a team that is only but so many people, and we keep our circle tight. So it's like it's so much news, and um, we have to make sure that we take like short breaks in between because this stuff, for a lot of people, is hard to tune into because to a lot of people it's depressing. It depresses them. But is it the news that depresses you, or is it society that depresses you because we're holding up what society is, and you want to tune out of the stuff that you're in? It's like you're living in a dump, and you can there's a clear path to get out, but you don't want to see through the path to get out. Does that make sense?
It does.
I think that's what it's more about. Um, like willfully ignorant people when the solutions and the answers are right in front of them. Like when people talk about abolishing the police, well, what are you going to do when there's no police? Well, there's outlines that people have come out with and solutions out the ass. And if you go
But you know
Google
what's
it,
crazy
there's
though?
answers for
Like,
that. Same thing with so many other things like our society, democracy. There are so many other solutions to democracy that people have come up with over the past 100 years. And if people in our generations in this time did their research on a massive scale, like regular Americans did their research, they would understand that and know, instead of just asking like, well, what are you going to do without democracy? What are you going to do without capitalism? Well, we have answers. Just look it up. Open a book or turn on Google, and the answers will be right there for you. But people won't do that. It's willful ignorance. I'm sorry. I'm getting pissed off though, because it just
but
pisses me off.
there's no reason to even be pissed off though, and I'm going to tell you why. Because it's designed that way. We are outnumbered. Like, and I'll be honest, I was one of those people until 2 years ago. I was one of them people that would literally, even when I first got in this movement, when I with George Floyd, I started off as one of them, blind, just willfully following, leading behind.
Got you.
You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't do my own research. And they come to find out a lot of this shit, man, they bamboozled us. And they still bamboozling us because they
Yep.
don't want us to educate.
Yep.
They don't want us to be empowered. They don't want us to be the peaceful, loving, great.
Let me tell you something. The other day, I just kind of was like, "What the hell am I doing all this stuff for? Why am I doing this?" Like no one cares. Everyone's just like living their lives, and you know they're just they go back to their things. They might tune in for a second and be like, "Oh, okay," and then they go back to their lives. It's not really like getting them to think or educating them in a way that they want it. Like they don't care. So why am I doing all this? But at some point, like we have to. Like I've always been this way, like learning out the ass and then trying to repeat and educate other people, because I could tell that people didn't know and didn't care and like were just willfully being ignorant. And but as a kid, and people are telling you like, no, you don't know what you're talking about, or shut your mouth and mind your business because adults are right and you're wrong always. I was always seen a certain way. I always like knew that I was different and odd, but I knew that, like you say about right and wrong, you know what I mean? We talked about that. Like, if you want to talk about that, I was right. But because I was the kid, I like there was nothing I could do about it. So I always felt the one off, and like I didn't fit in the world because I knew all these things that I felt like everyone else should know. And I think that's also part of why I get so angry at the fact that we have the world that we do, because if people just opened up a book or looked at their phone in a different light, they would know these things, and it's not that hard. It's not that, to me, it's not that hard to grasp. But also, I don't feel like I've been like, yeah, I watched TV when I was younger, and I did all these
You
different things
know,
that everyone did, but I also tuned into other things too, where I get it. So I get that, like, how you can't grasp tuning out of that to something. I get it, but it frustrates me, maybe because I've lived in
but it
both.
shouldn't even frustrate you. And I'm going to tell you why. Because at the end of the day, you should be happy that you are the way you are, and don't be getting frustrated at just because you educate yourself and people
Right,
are still blind or don't
right,
want to, or it scares them. Don't get mad at that, because at some phase of life you were like that. You know what I'm saying? And
right,
the people
right,
the people
right.
that you feel like were your mentors, they didn't come off to you like, oh, get angry. No, because I'll tell you right now, the people that I, even though that they're deceased, RIP, they didn't get angry at people just because they didn't feel that anger. What they felt is sorrow, because for the simple fact of that, we see the things, everybody sees the same things that we see, and still don't understand why, or still can't comprehend it, and even though it's slapping them in the face. And because I'll tell you right now, when you said that, why do you do this? I,
Yeah,
I think about that all the time. I think
yeah,
about that all the time, because I sit there, because when going on for those, on vacation or whatever,
right.
and there's you're in a car for, 40 some hours, you're going to have some discussions.
Hmm.
And but just discussion with my mother, and just of like, what have I done? Like, what have I do? I feel like I've done enough for change? And no, I haven't done enough. Uh, but other people have to pay attention as well, so that we can catch up. Um, because there is so much we're not going to change. One thing that I realized is that we're never going to get the change that we desire with amendments. Now people aren't going to understand that, and I'm going to tell you why. Because people, what is an amendment? Now, see, an amendment is something that they write.
But bro, we can't even get to that because we've got people down our throats like, what are you doing to change the world? Well, what the fuck are you doing?
But see, you know what's crazy?
People just want to argue us down about any little thing instead of they're not doing anything at all.
I'm going to tell you
That's
right now, and this is one thing that I've told myself, and I I, I took a breather. I didn't really have my phone was off. You know what I'm saying? So the only time I had access to my phone was when I was around Wi-Fi, which wasn't very often. Um, so I was really unglued what was going on, and I took that time to just think, going out to the Grand Canyon, Rio Grande, Hoover Dam, and all that, just seeing the nature and seeing other parts of America that uh, I had never seen before, and you
right,
wouldn't think that we're even in America.
right.
You know what I'm saying? But literally was in America, and to see, like, just going down the Las Vegas Strip, walking down the Las Vegas Strip, and to see people sleeping on in front of like a McDonald's,
Mm.
or they're sleeping in front of a casino, but on a busy side street, public street where thousands of people are walking up and down, drinking, smoking cigarettes, smoking marijuana, whatever, kids and strollers, you got people performing, and people are literally homeless sleeping. And it's like nobody's paying attention.
But that isn't that the epitome. I don't know about you in Minneapolis, but everywhere else that I know of, people just walk right past them or over
Oh
them, or
yeah,
don't
but
think
it's
anything of them. They see a little bit of gray in a blanket, they look the other direction because they want to literally ignore it instead of like feeling bad and doing something, letting that feeling bad or that anger for the system motivate you to do something about not having to see that person on the street anymore instead of
But see,
ignoring it.
the point that I'm making in this is that
Mhm.
like the strip is for tourism,
Mhm.
right? Now,
Right.
when I go to Minneapolis and I see homeless people, it's not in an area that is made for tourism. It's area that is made for
Right.
residential, for
Right.
business. So that's the point that I'm making is that literally everybody that walks there is from other areas of the country, areas of the world. Because I'll tell you right now, I probably heard 25, 26 different languages on
Hmm.
that strip. And the way that these people, like the people had on, I was gonna say these people, I mean, but people had on of, oh, I love New York. It literally you saw so many
Wow.
tourism shirts,
Right.
you know. So it's like, and then you look up at the, the casinos or the highlight advertisement boards, and you seeing everybody. Garth Brooks was performing, Nelly was performing,
Yeah.
Jack Harlow, DJ Snake. So you had so many different acts. Then you
Yeah.
have comedians. So I mean, it's a bustling area.
Yeah. I think it's like they have 42,000 rooms or some shit like that.
Man, I don't know, but they got a ton.
Yeah.
That shit blew my mind, man. Yeah, but this even with like going in New Mexico and Farmington and waking
Right.
up and there was a shooting below, and I didn't hear shit. Wow, man, I still can't get over that.
That's crazy. Yeah, I found out last night that there's an old volcano in New Mexico.
Mm.
Yeah. It's dormant. But I didn't like I don't know, that just blew.
Yeah. So all you gotta do is use Google. But I wonder if people know what's going on in Davenport. Play this video.
Find them first! Find them first! Find them first! Find them first! Yeah, what? First! Find them 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 first! Yeah, what? First! Find them first!
Lost connection, I guess.
So I'm just talking about what's going on in Davenport. Um, so if people don't know what's going on in Davenport, Iowa, you have a building, an 8-story building that fell, collapsed, and there's 5 people unaccounted for, and they believe that there are still 2 people inside. So an hour ago, this was from the mayor that 2 still unaccounted for, less than 48 hours since the collapse. City of Davenport currently moving forward with demolition. More and more protesters showing up. Emotions are boiling in Davenport. Look, I mean, man, I just want to say that I'm very proud because I haven't seen this type of reaction in a very long time.
Right.
Of people just paying attention and caring about, because that's a whole community out there. You just don't see black people. I literally seen a lady She got diamonds on, pearls. I mean, there's
Yeah,
rich people
really.
out there too. Yeah, it's not just, this is a whole community out here fighting. This isn't just a bunch of poor black people, colored people. This is a whole community because Iowa's in the fucking middle of nowhere,
That's
especially
true.
Davenport.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So, and I will say that there is communities in America that do come together, regardless of race, regardless of wealth, when this fight is right versus wrong. Because right
Very
now, the Davenport government is doing that city wrong. And you have people standing up, which is right. So people are standing up to the wrong. And they're doing it the right way. They're not asking people to go burn things down. No, you got people out there chanting to their mayor.
And what would you say to the people that's like, oh, protesting doesn't do anything. You need to vote.
Voting ain't gonna really do it. I'm gonna be honest, because there's no legislation in the world that's gonna change it. I mean, how much more do we gotta write? You get how many more amendments? How many
That's
more
the thing.
labels?
Back to amendments, because like we should just be starting over instead of putting band-aids on things. And if we start over, we can have a restart on society, so to speak. And also
Oh
in
wait,
history,
hold up. I wanna play this. So this is a lady that lived in the building.
Look for somebody. That's what they should have done in the first place.
Nobody came to look for you?
No, I was riding. I was sleeping in the tub. I mean,
When you woke up, how did you know that the building had
I
collapsed?
woke up because I heard people saying, "Is anybody in the building?" And when I went to the window, I saw two firemen on the bottom.
So they're yelling up. Is
They're
anybody
yelling,
on the
yeah, they're yelling up with the rest of the crowd, but I hear them too. The rest of the crowd, but I hear them too. The two firemen, they're yelling up, calm down, we want you less, we finna come up and get you. I said, oh no, please don't. I said, hello, tell the police, tell them to come up here and get me. I don't want about the women.
But they said you have to.
Yeah, so he gave me the belt. He said, you gotta put this belt on. I'm like, okay, I do want some air.
That shit crazy, man.
mm-hmm.
They just literally got people stealing these. Wow. I just gotta say that to the people out there, that big ups, man. That y'all are out there for the right thing. I want to see if there is that. If I could find that. Oh, great. No. See, that's one of the people that was missing in their film yesterday. So you tell me that that was yesterday, but they were saying that them people aren't alive. That building collapsed Sunday. This is Monday that they found Lisa Brooks.
And she was alive?
Yeah. See, a woman has been rescued from a partially collapsed 6-story apartment. I said 8, so it's 6 apartment building in Davenport, Iowa, after authorities said no known people were left inside. Yeah. So that's shocking to me.
Yeah, because what if it's people that weren't living there that just happened to be there, so no one knew that they're actually there? They'd just be missing, or somewhere else in the city and they're not connecting it. So you have
So
a point.
Michael,
There's other people that definitely are probably unaccounted for.
so I want to read this. That protest tomorrow. This is an hour ago, 6 o'clock. They changed the demolition to 8 a.m. Please come to 4th Street and Harrison, Davenport, 4th Street and Harrison, Davenport, Iowa. Please bring picket signs. We need accountability from the mayor to the inspector and of all of these who are responsible for keeping the building up to code. We need picket signs, no demolish until we find Brandon, Colvin, and others.
So are they gonna chain themselves to the building or something? Like,
They have the area blocked off, so you can't even really. Well,
man, they should be going there at night and
picture of
chaining
it.
themselves to the building if they about it.
There's a
I'm
picture
half
right
serious.
there.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So for those who bristle at the ideal of systemic racism being real, this apartment building in Davenport, Iowa partially collapsed over the weekend. Residents include many people of color. Authorities have already called for the building's demolition before all are accounted for. See, what is waiting for another election going to save those people? What is going to vote going to save the next building from coming down and people not caring? Because I live in Red Wing, Minnesota right now, where that could literally happen to apartments here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And they don't care because they don't even care about the houses that are ran down and have that the structures are electrical or it's not even safe to live in. They don't even care about that. And that's not even just a Red Wing, Minnesota issue. That's an issue everywhere. So how is a vote going to change that?
I ain't arguing with you, bro. Like, wow. Oh, tell me about the debt ceiling, John. What's going on with that? I don't hear anything in the video. Yeah, I want to know about the debt ceiling. Anything else as well? I've been so busy with things, and I've definitely been slacking, y'all. But I've been reminded to take breaks because we have to if we're gonna have longevity uh, in this fight. But I don't know if he meant to put the video on or not, but I can't hear it, so I'm not sure. But that is from Davenport, Iowa. For anyone tuning in, uh, yeah, I want to talk about like taking breaks because we didn't really report much on George Floyd and the 3 year marker of the incident of his murder. And I mean, for me, I guess there's a couple of reasons why. I'm sure Chaz has his own reasons too. Uh, I don't want to celebrate anything. I want discussions about some further progression and some solutions and people putting their heads together more. Uh, Instead of celebrating, are we going to turn it into George Floyd Day where the country barbecues and celebrates and plays black stuff? Is it going to be Juneteenth, the pre Juneteenth celebration? Because I definitely don't want that. You know, I want to make sure that we're continuing to do our part, like to help change things versus versus capitalizing on seeming actually ordinary people that just made huge change or helped to create huge changes in our world. And I wish that more people sought to create more changes in our world. So, I mean, I'm glad that there are people out on the streets trying to hold those, doing their part to hold those folks accountable for trying to. And I do get rushing to demolish the place, but maybe also try harder and reach for more resources to get as many people out as possible that you definitely deem are unaccounted for, you know? So. I guess we could tap in with y'all later, because Chaz seems like he took a bathroom break. Yeah. Well, I guess we could take a break for a moment too. Does that work?
Culture of thrones set ablaze by the majority. Tired of complacency, ready for the anarchy. 'Cause what's left to lose? Everything is lost. Time to turn to the new. Stand in your ground, hold it. Man-made earthquakes